Another thing people really need to test, and I'm surprised that people don't test more, is time of day. Ask yourself, if you send out a newsletter, for example, when was the last time you test that time of day? And the reason I bring up with newsletter, I'm going to show you a little test right now around the newsletter. I was managing a newsletter, and this is fairly recently, that had about a little over 400,000 subscribers on it, about 500,000 subscribers on it. And I asked them, I saw what time they were sending it at, and I said, when was the last time you guys tested that time? And it was years ago. It was just, nobody even knew. Like, the people who tested it weren't even at the company. It was like 8 years ago they tested it. So I said, hey, let's do a quick test around time of day. So they typically decided on, hey, 6 a.m. was a great time of day to send it out. And once again, this was something they tested years and years ago. And I said, okay, let's test 8 a.m. So these were the results that we got. So we did it over 3 campaigns. And for each group, a little over 400,000 emails, so statistically significant. And this was the results that we got. So they were doing about almost a 14% unique open rate. And just by, instead of sending it out at 6 a.m., we sent it out at 8 a.m. And we had over a 22% unique open rate. Only thing that changed, instead of sending it out at 6, I sent it out at 8. Now, so people go, well, what about the people you lost? Absolutely. So a lot of solutions now have where you can optimize times, where, hey, the people that are always opened up at this time, you can keep on sending at this time. So this type of test is getting a little outdated at this point. But for most of us on this call, this would be very applicable, okay? And, so just ask yourself, when was the last time we tested time of day? And mix it up. Now, just don't randomly pick a time. Oh, let's see what happens at 9 p.m. on a Friday. Be thoughtful about it, because I'll tell you right now, before you even test it, it's not going to work. But take a look at different times. Really think about it. I kept it simple, and this is another reason, because a lot of times you got to get buy-in from people. I'm sure a lot of people on this call deal with getting buy-in from supervisors. So this was a nice, hey, I'm just changing in 2 hours, guys. Let's see what happens. And this showed the result. Email body message. There is a million different layouts you can test. Try them. Letter versus promotional, narrow versus wide, long versus short, paragraph versus bullet points. You'll be surprised just having different text in certain places, using blue and underline versus a button, how that can impact. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, you're not going to go typically from a 0.5% click-through rate to a 2% click-through rate, click to delivered, but you can gradually improve your results. So definitely test the design, because what also happens too, especially with newsletters, people kind of start getting ad blindness, just like they did with display ads. They're used to seeing the same thing, so they go over things. So just by changing the design periodically can greatly improve your click-through rates. But then over time, that they start getting ad blindness to that, so you then switch the design again. That's something I've seen time and time again with newsletters, where there's been this newsletter design, it's always been that design, and you change it, and you see this greatly improved click-through rate, and you go, that's a winner, and then, you test it 4 or 5 times, and every time it has a much higher click-through rate. But then over time, you'll notice like 6 months later, the click-through rates are kind of the same as the original control email, and it's just people getting ad blindness again. So newsletters, here's the tip, and this is a tip I just came up with, but it's a very good tip, is change your newsletter design every once in a while. You'll be surprised. You'll probably get much higher click-through rates, because that's what I've seen consistently throughout my career. Every 6 months or so, just change it, see what happens. Calls to action. Once again, this is another thing, very easy to test. Typically, it's not going to take you from a 1.5% conversion rate to a 10% conversion rate, but it will take you from a 1.5 to a 2% conversion rate overnight. And it's pretty straightforward to do. Learn more works well. Buy now. Something strong call to action. It's not about being subtle. People all the time, like I see click. No, the click doesn't work, or submit. Those don't work. Learn more. Buy now. Positive action words. Also, color really helps great. You want to do contrasting colors to whatever your design palette is, of whether that be your landing page or your email.